My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Season 1 of Only Murders in the Building. And this is a show that I was really looking forward to. It stars Steve Martin and Martin Short, two of the Three Amigos, so I was looking forward to it because of that. But it's also a whodunit mystery, and I love whodunit mysteries. So everything about this show just sounded so up my alley. And I have to say, after watching it, it's not as good as I wanted it to be. But let's begin with what I did like. I thought the cast was really good, especially Steve Martin and Martin Short. The characters aren't written the best, like they aren't the most interesting characters, but Steve Martin and Martin Short really bring them to life in such a vibrant way, and you just can't help but find them endearing. You really like them. Selena Gomez isn't on the same level as them, but she's never meant to. She's always meant to be like the straight person, and I think she does a fine enough job at that. And there's also Amy Wine who's in this show that I thought did a really good job. And then one guy who was in this that really caught me by surprise was Nathan Lane. While I was watching it, I'm just like, oh my god, is that Timon? Is it? I can't remember the last thing I've seen him in. It can't be Mouse Hunt, is it? But just seeing him in this show was such a welcome surprise. I thought he was really good in this show too, and the rest of the supporting cast did a good enough job. And I do think this show is a very entertaining, easy to watch show. I binged it all in one day, no problem. Like I said, it's not the best show, but it's consistently entertaining. And another aspect of this show that I did like is the opening titles. I know that seems like such a weird thing to praise, but I like it when a show has a good opening titles. There's very few shows that have an opening titles that I don't skip every episode, because you're just like, okay, let's just get to the show. But here, I like the animation, I like the music, and I just enjoyed watching it every episode. And speaking of the music is composed by Siddhartha Khosla, who I thought composed a really good score for the show. It just added a nice flavor to it, which I really enjoyed. But we do have to get into my negatives now, and let's begin with the fact that it's just not all that funny. It's a comedy show, and I didn't laugh all too much, which is a huge bummer. As entertaining as it is, I just didn't find it to be funny. And the story of it all, the whole mystery, I didn't really like all that much. The more we found out about certain characters and the backstories we got, I never found it to be interesting stuff. I never found it to be like, oh, this adds a whole new layer to that character. It never got me like that. It's just kind of there. It had no sort of impact on me. And by the end of the show, you start to realize that there's an A storyline and a B storyline. And you'd hope for them to interconnect better, at least by the end. But by the end, they still feel like two very separate storylines that just don't connect as much as you would have liked them to. There's the slightest of resemblance to it, and you'd think it'd be more than what it is initially, but by the end, no. The only connecting tissue is what we thought it would be initially. So I found that to be a letdown, and I also don't like it in shows when they're like, we cracked the case, and then you check to see how many episodes are left, and you're just like, oh, well, there's 2 episodes left, so clearly the show's not done. And then the show keeps going. Like, it's meant to be like, aha, we got you. You didn't solve the case yet. But I don't really need that. I don't like those fake victory moments. And the show also has a plotline involving a podcast, and I just don't think this aspect was needed. It comes into play a few different times, but I don't really think it had that kind of impact. It could have been perfectly fine without it. And for a mystery show, I did find this show to be very predictable. Within the moment we met a certain character, I was just like, oh, that person definitely did it. I'm 100% certain. And then as the show progressed, I was just like, yep, it's definitely them. Yep, it's them. It's them. And by the end, it was revealed to be them. And I'm not the kind of person who figures this stuff out. I'm not the person who sees the twist coming. I'm just not. So either this show is a bit predictable, or I'm the smartest person who's ever lived ever. Now, to be fair, it could very well be the latter option, but it could also be this one as well. So I don't know, it was a tad bit predictable. Would have liked the supporting cast to be more... I would have liked more characters to be developed enough to the point where you could suspect them. I would say that. And I also found the ending to this season to be absolutely horrendous. What was I thinking? Boy, they really butchered this ending. There's a point where the show clearly should have wrapped up, but then they just wanted to set up for the next season and they end on a big cliffhanger and it's shit. They shouldn't have done that. But that all said, the show is still entertaining. Steve Martin and Martin Short do bring enough to it. It's just nowhere near as good as it should have been. But I don't regret watching it either. It was still perfectly fine, perfectly entertaining. So I'll still go ahead and give Only Murders in the Building Season 1 a 6.5 out of 10. Okay, have you seen Only Murders in the Building? Or have you seen the TV show Murders in the Building? Let me know what you thought about it down below. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon, and Gavin out.